Guys, welcome to this edition of the Daily Dose for Monday, July 3rd. What we're going to talk about today is a topic that that I've been hearing a lot lately on some of the podcasts and stuff, especially with the last couple E3s that Sony's been doing, right? And it's kind of like, when is a game, when is the right time to announce a game and start hyping it and such and so forth, especially with Sony. That has been a lot of the games that they've been announcing the last couple of E3s are games that are farther off, you know. And here with me on this edition of the Daily Dose to discuss it is Homicidal Lou. How are you doing today?
Not too bad.
Good, good. You more awake this time?
Way more awake this time than last time.
Good, good. That's good to hear. Yeah, especially with like, I mean, the best example of this is obviously probably Death Stranding. You know, we saw the first trailer with it actually last year at E3, and I think at that point, I don't think Hideo Kojima had even really picked an engine. I think at that time when he was actually shopping around and trying to find an engine to even build the game, to even start. Like, I think that they finally, like, just recently started actually making it. I mean, this game probably isn't going to be out for at least 3 years, and that's probably even being nice.
It's going to take a while for development as well, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Hideo Kojima's games are always huge too. You know, like, look at all the Metal Gear games, and
yeah, they've got a huge storage capacity to as well, I believe.
Yeah, from what I understand is that his new studio is under Sony, so it's probably going to be like a Sony exclusive. And the engine he actually went with, from what I heard, is actually it's the engine from Guerrilla Games, and it's actually the engine that is powering Horizon Zero Dawn. Is the one that he actually went with. So yeah, that can be really good.
Yeah, that's a great engine to go through.
That is a phenomenal looking game, and I can only imagine what Hideo Kojima and his team will be able to do with it.
Yeah, it's widespread variation of what you can do. Yeah, you're left with a wide amount of things to do. You're not left with just one simple thing. You can do whatever you want with a certain engine of any sort.
Right. Especially nowadays, it's crazy. Like, what games do nowadays, and I mean, and especially him. You know, he's always pushed the boundaries and advanced the art form of video games. He's quite the pioneer in that. So, and another thing that's gonna be interesting with how long development of that game works is, you know, he's working with some bigger, like, TV and movie stars too. You know, I mean, we've seen Norman Reedus in it, and we've even seen Mads Mikkelsen in a trailer as well too. So he also has to work around scheduling and stuff, you know, their scheduling and stuff, to get all the motion capture and voice work and whatever, you know, they need to do it. So I mean, that game is probably pretty far off.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And I can't really say much of it myself. I haven't seen of it personally, to be honest.
Well, no one really has. I mean, they've literally only done about like 2 trailers. I mean, there's, you know, obviously at this point, no like not even really like in-engine footage. I think even those trailers they shown, like I said, at least the first one was before I think he even settled on an engine. So it was probably rendered with I don't know, something in-house or in studio that they already had. So but yeah, it's literally just been 2 trailers, and Inebriation actually brought this up kind of on our last edition of Daily Dose that we did a couple days ago. Was, you know, you have to, you know, you don't want to do it too far off, because, like, remember, like he was saying, the point he was making was that, you know, people could eventually kind of either lose hype or kind of, you know, it kind of escapes your mind.
Yeah.
You know, if you put a game that far out. So it's kind of like when is the right time to start announcing, you know, to announce a game? I kind of think that it should at least be kind of maybe like a year cycle.
Yeah, I would say towards like beta stages.
Mm-hmm.
So then you could get the beta release out, like, about a month or so after the actual hearing of what it's all going to be, so everybody has that chance to try out the game as well in an earlier stage before actually deciding, is this going to be the right game for me? It gives them more time to speculate what it's all going to be about, and if it's basically the controls, the graphics, the sound, the gameplay in itself, as well as the AIs and the enemies you've got to do as well.
Yeah.
I believe that's about the right time we should bring it all into it.
Yeah, I agree. And to look at the opposite end of the spectrum, actually Fallout 4 was kind of an interesting situation, because that one was actually announced only a few months before it actually ended up releasing, so that one is the totally complete opposite end of the spectrum, where it was announced, debuted, shown off, and then it released literally, I can't remember, I'd have to look it up, but it was literally only like a couple months later. And it kind of came out of nowhere, and that game was phenomenal, and it was optimized, and it ran great. So they obviously had been working on it for quite some time, but then they just didn't finally announce it until way later. But that game also had the advantage of being the fourth entry in a series, you know what I mean? So sometimes it comes down to, even if it's a new IP, that's kind of the thing. Usually when you see new IPs, they're kind of announced farther off, like a Death Stranding.
Yeah.
So that's going to play into it too.
Yeah, I don't know much to say about that. I am not really smart around them types of areas with IPs and all that. But honestly, when it comes to anything else, I'm fine with answering a lot of it. But it's just the things I find tricky around explaining.
Yeah,
stuff I haven't researched in, basically.
Yeah, I mean, of course it all is, because we're obviously not embedded in the industry, right? And we don't have insider knowledge or information or stuff like that like some people do. So it's all we can really go off pretty much is what we see, hear, read. Unfortunately, a lot of it is on the internet, so you kind of can't. Of course, the old adage, you can't believe everything you read on the internet and all that too. But
yeah.
But yeah, Fallout 4 was definitely an interesting one because, but like I said, yeah, it was a series that was already established. So, and like I was saying, when it's a totally new game, then it's kind of shown farther off. Like at this E3, we talked a little bit about it. Anthem, for instance, that's going to be that's a new series starting. And that one isn't going to be quite as far off as like a Death Stranding. I think the release date on that one is sometime of next fall, not this fall, but a fall of 2018. So that one, that one's more, kind of about a more like year and a half kind of thing. But
yeah,
it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Death Stranding. Like with what Inebriation was saying. But that one is it's a Hideo Kojima game, so I don't think that many people are really gonna kind of forget about it, right? Like Hideo Kojima games are a big deal. Every time he comes around to making a new one.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm not sure, to be honest. My mind's just gone blank for a second here. Sorry.
You're all good. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what some of the other ones was too, because there's particularly Sony. I mean, that's kind of been like the last couple E3s for Sony. They've been showing games that aren't like coming out for a while, and I'm trying to remember what some of them are. One that I'm actually hyped for, it looks really good, is Days Gone. That one looks phenomenal too, and I can't remember the release date on that one. I think that one, it might be the end of this year, early next year. It's not really too far off, but it's just been kind of like an interesting kind of like marketing plan or whatever, that they've been doing, because a lot of them are like farther off, and
yeah,
So it's gonna be interesting to see how some of these play out. But yeah, pretty much like what I said earlier, and like what you were saying, I think that perfect time, like even if it's like a new P, I think like a year cycle is good. So like say like they announce it at E3 this year, and then it'll be a release like next summer or something like that. You know, like I like a year is a good cycle because then you can show it. You know, you can announce it, show it off with a trailer, then maybe a couple months later, show like the first gameplay. Then a couple months after that, so now you're about halfway through, maybe have like a beta or something like that to where you can test it out. You know, if it's an online game like a Destiny or something, you can test out your servers, your network, and make sure all that's holding up. I mean, you know, because that's pretty much what a beta is, right? Especially for a game like Destiny.
Exactly. I mean, it's also not forced upon you then as well if it's like coming out in a short amount of time after the official announcement. Exactly. So it gives developers more time to, you know, tweak things here and there, make the game slightly better if it comes to servers and that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what beta releases will also help with.
Exactly.
For the community to, like, you know, pinpoint out what needs to be done, what is good, what doesn't need to be changed, what could be added in, a couple more ideas mixed in from the crowd. It's pretty much what they could be used for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly, and that's how like you'll see most companies do their betas. Like I remember the Titanfall 2 beta was like a couple months before release. Destiny is the same thing. We're seeing it roughly just about 2 months before release. So like you said, you know, it gives them time to work on anything that the beta points out. So
exactly.
Yeah, so that's. I think that's a pretty good schedule. About that year thing is kind of a good thing, and for the most part, that's kind of like how most of them do it. But just this thing with Sony's just a little different.
Yeah, and coming back to what I said, they could work on it a bit whilst the yearly cycle. You can work on it, but you cannot work on it too much because there's going to be a point of if you work on it too much, you're going to ruin the game. And it's gonna be something people will not want. Because if you put too much effort, there's a point of putting enough effort in, putting little effort in, and putting too much effort in. If you put too much effort in, then it's just going to ruin the game as much as not putting enough effort in. That's usually how game creating usually works around. You gotta put just the right amount of effort into anything if you want it to come out the way you want it to.
Exactly. It could actually it actually applies to a lot of forms of art, because even me being like an artist, there's definitely a point where if you can work on a painting or a drawing or something too much to where you just mess it all up. You know, it can get too cluttered, way too convoluted. It could be like kind of like hard to read. And I've had that happen many times, and it could be that way with pretty much anything you create. And that's a good point, especially with games being delayed so much lately. Like it's not. I mean, it's definitely happening more now than it did in the past. Like you are seeing game delays quite a bit more often.
Quite often, it's becoming a bit of a cliffhanger for all the fans of a certain game type.
It is, right?
If you want to use like a decent word for it, it's becoming a huge cliffhanger. Everybody wants it to come out there and then. When it's expected to come out, then it's pushed back, which leaves the audience wondering, when is this going to come out? When are we going to see a great game come out? What is going to happen? Are they giving us enough information, or what are they hiding from us?
Exactly.
Is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? Nobody knows because they keep pushing the deadline back.
And another thing that you risk too with some of these longer cycles from announcing a game and stuff like that is, I kind of mentioned this earlier today before we started recording, but you can end up with games like I think it was Fable Legends and Scalebound. You know, that ended up being canceled, and especially in Scalebound's case, like that game was pretty hyped. A lot of people were looking forward to that, and it got cut. So you risk that too.
This thing of games getting cancelled, there's been an occasion of a game being confirmed and not even being developed.
Oh yeah.
I think we might know exactly which game that might be. Half-Life 3, maybe.
Right? Yeah, Half-Life 3.
That was confirmed many a times, and it still hasn't come out.
I swear, on a totally side note tangent, I swear Valve has like a fear of threes or something, because so many of their series, they have not made a third one. No Portal 3, no Team Fortress 3, no Left 4 Dead 3, no Half-Life 3.
Yeah, I mean, Gabe Newell, I think Gabe Newell's the founder of Valve. Correct me if I'm wrong, because
yeah, I believe so, yeah.
I'm not exactly on the top of my A game when it comes to people's positions in certain game developments. But there's an article, he used to work for Microsoft.
Okay,
and he was working on the Windows 1, Windows 2, and Windows 2.5. There was no
3?
Windows 3 as far as I know.
Oh my god.
And that just comes down to the entire loop of why is there no Left 4 Dead 3? That has been confirmed as well as Half-Life 3. Still hasn't come out.
Yeah, I think we'll eventually finally see one. I think eventually we'll probably get a Half-Life 3 eventually.
Yeah, when Gabe Newell gets off the pedestal, maybe.
Right, I know. I know. I've always wondered that with the whole Valve thing. It's interesting because not only is there that many franchises that they have that have never hit a third one, but they're all really successful franchises too.
And yeah, it's just a shame they don't continue a story. I don't even think Half-Life 2 has an ending yet, which is what Half-Life 3 was supposed to be. It was supposed to be the ending of the Half-Life series. Because there's no ending to it. I mean, Left 4Dead 2, yes. I mean, I know that Left 4 Dead 2 was not meant to be a game. It was meant to be but because of general coding issues, developers made it into a game. But that they do have an end. They do have a start and an end in each episode, like Dark Carnival, Hard Rain, Swamp Fever, Dead Center, The Passing. They all have their own separate endings. But Half-Life 3, that was supposed to be the ending of the Half-Life series. But because it's not coming out, as far as we know, we don't officially know yet. Because we haven't heard it officially being made and officially being released. As far as we know, there's going to be no ending to the Half-Life series.
Yeah, it's been a long time too since that second one. It's been a long time. So I know, that's.
And I know that Half-Life 2 has been out for a long time.
Yeah, I know. I can't even, like, off the top of my head, I can't even really think of about how long ago it was, but it's quite a while for sure. Same thing with even Left 4 Dead 2 and the others. You know, it's all been quite a while. It was like once Valve developed Steam, they just that was just like their kind of their main focus.
And I mean, I'm having a look at Half-Life 2 right now. Recent news. The most recent news they've had on Half-Life 2 is on the 20th of June of this year. So if they put news up on Half-Life 2, they should be getting into the development of new games, like the third of everything.
Right. Yeah. So if there was something, I mean, so at least there has been some recent talks about it. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It would be awesome. Like if and when or whatever, a Half-Life 3 is finally announced, it's going to be a big deal.
It'd be great. It'd be extremely successful.
Oh yeah.
That's what I don't think they see that it's going to be successful. All the fans of the Half-Life series are going to love it because it's going to be, well, the end of the series. That's the most important key of this right now.
Yeah, and fans of it have been waiting for so long too. It's crazy.
Yeah, they've been getting frustrated with Valve because they won't make Half-Life 3.
And me, I love the Left 4 Dead games too, so I would love a Left 4 Dead 3 too, if they would finally get around to that.
Yeah, I mean, Left 4 Dead 3 as well. I mean, Because they could do the same for Left 4 Dead 3 as what they did for Left 4 Dead 2, combine the Left 4 Dead levels and characters into one game. So if nobody has Left 4 Dead 1, they can still play it. Only this time it's going to be much more available than it was before, because I can tell you now, on Left 4 Dead 1, there's not as much available as there is on Left 4 Dead 2, for example. Melee weapons. There's more special infected now than it was before, and you've got more options of multiplayer.
Exactly, yeah.
So they could also go a new route of adding completely different characters, or even having a 12v12 featuring Left 4 Dead 1, 2, and 3 characters all together.
Oh yeah, that'd be such a good way to do it.
I'm just spicing up ideas right here. I just think of an idea and I just throw it out onto the battleground without thinking twice.
Yeah, just right off the top of your head. No, that would be the way to do it.
Well. I mean, it turns out really good as well.
No, yeah, no, that would be a fantastic idea. That would probably be the best way to do it, Left 4 Dead 3. Especially with it being like a multiplayer focused game. So then, like you were saying, if you bring all the stuff from the first two and just have like this definitive edition, for like 3, and then obviously have a bunch of new stuff added as well, for the third one. But then just bring, like you're saying, bring the stuff from the first and the second. And,
exactly.
That would be quite some fan service too for fans of the series, especially like we were saying, with Half-Life 2 as well. They've been waiting for so long to finally have a third one, and
it would definitely bring the entire hype up into this franchise.
It would, yeah.
And I'm not just counting this for Half-Life and the Left 4 Dead series. There's plenty of games up there that could use a new game.
Oh yeah.
Including Portal.
Yeah, even Portal and
Portal. I mean, Terraria as well. Minecraft. They could use an upgrade as well.
Oh yeah, those ones for sure too.
Because I know Minecraft and Terraria, they're big games. They're played a lot around. And if they had sequels, I know Minecraft has done their own thing, like Order of the whatever it's called, I don't know, the Minecraft story mode.
Yeah, they just keep like releasing like all these like kind of different editions. There just hasn't been like an actual like Minecraft 2, like.
Yeah, there's one thing my brother actually found out about the Minecraft story mode. And why it is set the way it is with the gameplay. It was actually made by the same people that made The Walking Dead. So they have their own. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all similar, but it's just child friendly.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's no problem with that. The fans loved it. They loved it.
Oh yeah, I mean Minecraft is probably
it's a huge franchise.
Yeah, it's huge. It's probably sold more than any other, I would think. So, I think Minecraft probably is the top selling franchise in probably the last few years.
I mean, the first official release was a beta, but they released it as an alpha anyway, just for the sheer fact they wanted to get it out quickly, and people loved it.
Yeah.
And they started bringing more and more in. Instead of updating the original game, why build an entirely new game with entirely new features?
Right, yeah, when you can just keep releasing all these different editions, just keep rolling them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that would be a great thing to think up upon with big game creators. Because if one game is going to be successful, like Minecraft is, hugely successful, there's without a shadow of a doubt, the next game should be successful as well.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, it definitely would be.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Wow. that 25 minutes flew by. All right, but yeah, that will do it for this edition of the Daily Dose. We've definitely been kind of slacking on the Daily Dose for the last couple weeks. It's kind of been so. We're gonna try and bring it, get it back on schedule. We usually try and have it every weekday, Monday through Friday. Exactly, yeah. At the beginning of the stream at twitch.tv/soldieronly. Homicidal Lou is going to be joining me for pretty much for everyone, as long as he's awake.
I'll try.
Right. Well, especially with the crazy time difference between us two, so that's the big factor.
If nobody knows already, me and Soldier have a 7-hour difference between us.
Exactly, 7-hour difference. Yeah.
Yeah. We're trying to fit the times in. It's pretty complicated, but we can just work it out quickly, because I have no college now at all.
Oh, okay. Wow, yeah.
I've got a month's holiday off, so I'll be able to jump in much more than I would originally.
Okay, hell yeah, sounds good. Well, alright, so if you like this video, if you're watching this on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button, sub to the channel for more content. I'll also have links down in the description to mine and Homicidal Lou's Twitch channels, so be sure to drop some follows in there. Yeah, other than that, we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.